The language of groanings. The language of groanings. In travailing prayer, there are spiritual brokenness that attracts the throne of God, the robe of God and the sword of God. The throne is for judgment, the robe for virtue and the sword for deliverance. This brokenness is what I call the language of groaning. Many people do not understand the power of groaning, but it is an inner cry that projects past spiritual barriers without words or human efforts. The groaning itself is a prayer that only God can understand. The groans of the inner man connect one's most urgent need to the highest authority. The deepest inner cry speaks the most articulated sentences of the pain of the soul. 2 Corinthians 5:4, For we that are in this tabernacle do groan, being burdened. When a person groans in prayer, this groaning is felt in the core of heaven, and attracts the intervention of the ox seraph. The ox seraph ministers to those who are burdened and travails. Even an unsaved groaning can attract the counsel of the Lord God. The ox seraph represents the burden bearer, and controls the virtue of intercession and travail, and is a representative of Christ, the burden bearer of the saints. Groaning outside a covenant brings grace for divine interventions, but when groanings are done in the presence of a covenant, there is tremendous power of attraction. Not only your inner man attracts God, but it attracts the entire kingdom of heaven, and the host of the counsel of God. When we look in Exodus 6:5, it says, And I have also heard the groaning of the children of Israel, whom the Egyptians keep in bondage, and I have remembered my covenant. We must know that groaning resurfaces covenants made with God in the past. That's why I advise the saints to make a covenant with God, for covenants serve as a truce between the saint and the council of heaven. When groaning is done under a covenant, immediately, there is a breaching of the barriers between the heavens and the earth. The seraphim get involved in your cause of concern and the cherubim go into action. We see that Hannah used this knowledge in her desperation for a divine intervention in 1 Samuel ch. 1. She knew about groaning, prayers and tears under covenants, therefore, it says, 1 Samuel 1:10-11, and she was in bitterness of soul, and prayed unto the Lord, and wept sore. And she vowed a vow, and said, O Lord of hosts, if thou wilt indeed look on the affliction of thine handmaid, and remember me, and not forget thine handmaid, but wilt give unto thine handmaid a man-child, then I will give him unto the Lord all the days of his life, and there shall no razor come upon his head. Even if you do not have a covenant with God personally, but if your ancestors made a covenant with God, the Lord would still remember that covenant in the sight of your groaning.